Since people had questions regarding the tone of the 9-tube clock as well as its location in regard to the other clock, I decided this might be the best way to answer those questions. Here is the 1929 Gothic Herschede. It's actually located in our entryway. It doesn't get direct sunlight, which is nice, but it's a nice big open area with tile floors, and it just suits the space pretty perfectly, I think. It's actually a really, really beautiful clock, and one I've been looking for a very long time. I just wanted a 9-tube, so I counted myself very, very, very lucky to end up with this specific clock. It's just a stunning example in terms of case and just the very basic face. This is the actual, as I said, 9-tube, which means that it plays the Wittington, Canterbury, and Westminster chimes. As a lot of people who know about Herschede clocks know, the Canterbury chimes were written, some people say by an employee of the Herschede company, other people say it was written by a famous pianist. It might even been a pianist who happened to be employed by the Herschede Hall Clock Company. Regardless, it was, and I believe still is, a Herschede-only chime. You see, of course, we've got the grand prize, which have been on all hall clocks since they actually won that prize. Before I actually get to letting it chime, I also wanted to show in relation to the other clock, which is located also in this larger space. Hardwood floors, it just tends to be better for the clocks because over time as they twitch just a little bit each time, they actually run the risk of gradually, how do I put it? Their mechanisms just don't stand up very well to the constant movement that they would have on carpet. It'd be very subtle, but over time it would add up. This one's actually a more classic clock. It's actually from 1930 something. I'm sorry I have it written down somewhere, but I'm afraid I don't know exactly when. I did do research on both with the serial numbers, so I do have that information someplace. This one is just the standard 5-tube, so it only plays the Westminster chimes. The moon face isn't in the best of shape, but not many of them are, so all you can do is be gentle with it, not touch it, and hope the paint doesn't flake all the way off. It'd be nice if there was a way to rehab them, but there really just isn't a way to actually fix that paint. It peels and flakes right off. Nothing we can do to stop it. But you can see the location of the Gothic compared to the Classic. They're very close to one another, so the sound does actually intermingle, which isn't really problematic. It really just lends itself to a really unique house sound, I think, anyways. I try to keep them synced up pretty close to true time. It's a challenge. But without further ado, somebody had asked actually about its chiming, so I'm actually going to send it forward so that you can hear. Right now it's set to Canterbury, which actually is the time we usually have it set on. It's got a very classic, very clean sound that I like very much. I think it makes me think a little bit of church bells, but all in all, it's got a very, very nice, lovely sound. And of course, the quarterly is much like every other clock, segments of the original tune. So when you bring it to the quarter, you get the various pieces of the actual main song. Now I know somewhere somebody is actually right now having a heart attack because I'm not wearing gloves while I'm doing this. That said, I keep it clean. I very rarely touch it, so I'm really not that concerned about it. The clock has lived this long. I doubt very, very sincerely that my little bit of nudging is going to do anything to it. I think we're all familiar with the Westminster chimes, so I think I'm going to run it through the quarters now. I'll go ahead and turn it over to Wittington chimes just so it can be heard. It's actually, I like it almost as much as the Canterbury. The only issue is with the clock's age and the way that it was put back together. There is a little bit of an issue going over to Wittington and successfully coming back. It actually does cause a little bit of a problem. It actually sticks over there and you really have to force it back, so I prefer not to keep it there because I just would rather not risk damaging the clock. You can even hear it, like how hard you have to take it over. It should move more smoothly than that. It's just the nature of the age of the clock. I mean, it runs well, but the fact is, we all know age makes us all creaky. Here's the Wittington. One of the nice advantages of this particular clock is the ability to simply move back the hour hand. I can't do that with the other one, so let me tell you, when you want to play the chimes, it's, well, you really do have to fuss with it, so. But actually, it looks like we're close to time, so I could even just stick this one on for the fun of it. I'll just fuss with the hours later. And of course, this plays the Westminster. The classic grandfather clock tune. And that's my two lovely clocks, which are tremendously important to me, mostly because the man who started the company is actually my 4 times great-grandfather, so that's a little bit of interesting trivia. And the big reason why I got the clocks. And both these clocks were pretty much in horrible shape when they were picked up and built, just gutted, put back together, cleaned, refurbished, mended, fixed. The gentleman who rehabs these clocks actually strips, or actually rather does not strip the original finish if he can avoid it, and he actually uses a technique which actually takes the original finish and smooths it out and gets it back to its original luster. So if you look at these clocks, it's very, very likely that this is what the original clocks would have actually looked like. He does an awesome job, and I would recommend him to anybody. He knows Herschede clocks inside and out, and most people who know about clocks know that they can be tricky. So there's my 2 Hershedes, my babies, if you will, and I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you.